All right, everyone, it's the 4th of July here today, so I wear my appropriate headwear. And also, if you hear a booming noise, it's either the neighbor shooting off fireworks or it's someone attempting to shoot me to get me to stop. In the event that it's the latter and I slump over, please call 911. So, I'm here today to talk about quarantine and the experiences that we've all had during quarantine. Recently, I had a friend call me who was laid off, super concerned about how he's going to pay his mortgage. He's got kids, he's freaking out. And I said, well, the one thing you got going for you is, you've been home during quarantine. And I said, you've acquired a whole lot of new skills that you didn't have before. So maybe some of those are marketable. And he said, well, what do you mean a whole bunch of new skills? And I said, I don't know about you. I can only relate these things from my perspective, but I've been making 3 different meals 3 times a day because no one in my house will eat the same stuff. So I said, I can whip out about 10 different things in one meal in a matter of 15 minutes. I said, I figure you probably go be a cook or a chef somewhere. And he's like, yeah, I don't really want to go work with food very much. And I said, okay, that's fine. You probably got a pretty long list of things. And you have 2 kids at home that had to do distance learning. I said, how many things have you learned how to teach? I said, I know in my house, I've learned to teach so many different things. Hell, I think I could probably go on Are You Smarter Than a 5th Grader and actually make it through the damn show at this point. I said, the whole time we've had one mishap. I said, we tried to do some crazy science experiment out in the backyard. Shot the dog about 100 feet up in the air, but don't worry, don't call PETA. When she came down, she landed in the pond and swam right out like nothing happened. So it was all good. And he's like, yeah, but you have to have a degree to be a teacher. And I said, okay, yeah, you're right about that. I said, well, what about a secretary? I said, I've learned how to do everything from scheduling a meeting to sending an e-fax while making coffee, doing it all at the same time. I said, you've probably gotten some valuable skills with something like that. And he said, you realize you have to be pretty good looking to get a job as a secretary, right? I said, okay, you're out there. Let's move on. So he said, what else do you have? I said, well, what about a cleaner? I said, everyone's been told to clean and disinfect and re-clean and re-disinfect. And I said, we've gotten so good at cleaning. I said, you probably make anything look spotless within a matter of minutes. And he said, yeah, there's not a lot of things I'd want to do less than clean. And I said, okay, I can understand. He said, you got anything else? I said, well, what about a hairstylist? I said, I don't know about you, but I've been cutting 3 people's hair. I said, I've done everything from a fade to a mohawk to shaving hair completely off. I said, you got to have some skills in the styling department at this point. And he said, yeah, if you saw everyone's hair, you probably wouldn't be suggesting that. And I said, all right. I said, well, you're in the same boat as me. You've got a dog. I said, how about a pet groomer? I said, I don't know about you, but I've done everything from clipping my dog's nails to brushing her teeth to brushing her hair to bathing her to... I said one time, just for the hell of it, I thought I'd shave her hair off. I said, I got done. She looked like one of those damn Chinese cats that don't have any hair on them. I'm like, this is the freakiest thing I've ever seen. He's like, there's no way I'm working as a pet groomer. I'm not going to be touching other people's pets. I said, okay. Well, I said, you probably had similar experience to me. I said, I've had about 400 boxes shipped here since I've been home. I said, one thing I can tell you is these companies have no idea what the hell they're doing shipping stuff. They ship something in a giant box that I could fit in a small bottle. I open these packages and there's more packaging inside there than product. And they send me 6 different boxes from Amazon for one order, and everything would have fit in the second smallest box in the group. I said, maybe you could do something there. He goes, that's not a bad idea. He said, I've noticed the same thing. I'd probably save some companies some money. I said, well, we got one thing. So it's a start. And he said, all right, you got anything else? I said, well, with the meat shortage, we were a little concerned we'd run out of meat. So we started trapping frogs and garter snakes because we have a pond out in the backyard. I said, I'll tell you, I can butcher a 4-ounce frog and get you 3.75 ounces of meat out of the thing. I said, one thing I learned about garter snakes and frogs, they both taste like chicken. He's like, there's no way I'm cutting animals up for a living. That's not going to happen. And I said, okay. Well, you had your 2 kids home from school. You're in the same, situation. You got a dog, 2 kids. I said, I don't know about you, but somehow I've managed to keep them all busy enough and come up with enough activities for them without being around other people that they've blown off enough steam not to go completely crazy. I said, I feel like I could be a gym teacher or fitness instructor at this point. He's like, yeah, there's probably things that take degrees and lots of training. He goes, I don't think I'm qualified for those. And I said, okay. He's like, you got anything else? And I said, well, I can tell you one thing I've learned. Working from home, there's a lot of computer issues to deal with. I said, I'm sure you've had a bunch. And he said, well, yeah. I said, well, I figured out how to uninstall, reinstall, and work my way around so many problems. I said, I have no idea what the hell I'm doing, but at the end of the day, it always works. I said, every time I talk to our IT department, they tell me to do 12 different things and none of them work, but they can sit there and tell me why they should all work. I said, you know, companies would probably rather have the person that can actually fix the issue. And he said, yeah, I don't think IT is what I'm cut out for. I said, okay. I said, well, you know, we had an issue with the furnace shortly after quarantine started. Our furnace went completely out, and at that time, no one would come out to your house because of COVID concerns. They wouldn't come in the house. It's pretty hard to fix a furnace from outside the house, so I had to go down and tinker with it. I said, finally, one day with a rubber band, a paper clip, a piece of gum, and 5 saltine crackers, I got that damn thing working again, and it worked fine till some mice ate the crackers. Then I had to replace those, you know, put a little decon next to them, and problem solved. Never had an issue with the furnace again. And he said, yeah, I wouldn't be comfortable trying to fix people's furnaces. So, all right. I said, well, when this all started, I said everyone went out and loaded up on stuff, and everyone came home with 200 grocery bags full of items. I said, and then everyone jammed their pantries so full that the shelves are all about to bust out. I said, you got to be pretty good at stocking after bringing all that stuff home and constantly rotating supplies and everything else in your pantry and everywhere else in the house. I said, I bet you'd be a pretty good stocker. I bet you can stack cans and boxes and jars like no one's business. I said, you come over here and I do it. I go, I look like a person playing that game Cups, but I'm stacking 12-ounce jars and cans. He said, that's not the worst whatever. He said, that one might have some potential. So I said, all right, we're up to 2 things. He said, you got any other ideas? And I said, well, I don't know about you. Well, in case you're wondering why I'm drinking out of a mason jar, it's not because I wish I was at the Cracker Barrel, and it's not because I think it's the coolest container ever. It's because it's bigger than any glass I have. But anyway, so I said, I got one last idea for you. And he goes, okay, lay it on me. And I said, how about a procurer? And he said, what do you mean by a procurer? And I said, well, with the shortages of everything and trying to keep enough for an entire family, I go, you've probably gotten pretty creative with ways to get your hands on things. And he said, I guess. I said, I've built up such a network. I said, I feel like I could get a hold of anything within 4 hours if I needed to. Hand sanitizer, soap, medicine, pasta, meat, you know, wipes, toilet paper. You tell me what you need and I'll get it for you pretty quickly. And he said, yeah, that's not bad. I said, hell, it's gotten to the point in my house where I feel like I could probably get you 3 boxes of Cuban cigars and 2 baby white tigers within 8 hours if you gave me that long. And I said, not from that damn Tiger King or Carol Baskin. I wouldn't hook anyone up with those crazy fuckers. And he said, yeah, I just don't really know how marketable a procurer is. And I said, all right. So I said, well, we got a couple things for you. So you got some stuff to think about. And we ended the call, you know, I'm thinking about crazy people, and I'm thinking back. So a couple weeks ago, I'm watching the news, and they have a reporter out on the street trying to interview people, and she walks up to a lady and says, Ann, will you tell me what's been the most inconvenient thing about COVID-19 for you? And the lady looks back at her stone-faced and says nothing. And the reporter goes, well, how is that possible? It's had a great effect on everybody. And the lady said, well, at the beginning, I just went on my computer and hit unsubscribe, so I have nothing to worry about. So the reporter kind of rolls her eyes, heads down the street a little. After a few seconds, walking comes a homeless guy. She goes over to him and she goes, you know, I'm curious what effect COVID-19 has had on the homeless community. She's like, you know, not a lot of people talk to the homeless people about what affects them and how it affects them. And the homeless guy goes, man, it really hasn't affected me at all, except for one thing. And she said, well, what's that? And out of his cart that he's got, he pulls out a half-gallon of hand sanitizer. He's like, I've had about 500 people try to buy this half-gallon of hand sanitizer from me. And she said, well, if you're not doing well financially, why don't you sell it? And he said, do you know what the alcohol content in hand sanitizer is? So as she's standing there talking to him, up screams this guy in a Mercedes-Benz, jumps out, runs over to the homeless guy. Next thing you know, homeless guy's got $200 in his hand, and the guy's jumping back in his Mercedes with a half-gallon of hand sanitizer. So it's like, that's some crazy stuff, but you don't even have to watch the news to see the crazy people. All you gotta do is go outside. So a few weeks ago when the meat shortage started up, I was at Walmart, standing up at the register. I'm second line. The lady in front of me is kind of got some commotion going on with the cashier, but I wasn't paying much attention. Next thing I know, the front end manager comes over and she's talking to this lady. And all of a sudden the lady starts getting pretty animated. She goes, but you have to have hamburger on your shelves. And the manager said, well, ma'am, we only have so much, and when it sells, it sells. Later in the day, it's harder to get a hold of things. Lady wasn't happy with that. She's like, you got to have hamburger on your shelves, though, for people. And so the manager said, we don't control the supply chain. We can only sell what we get. If we don't get it, we can't sell it. So the lady's not happy with this, and it continues on. And then the next thing you know, the lady goes, well, there's a law about having to have hamburger. And the manager said, ma'am, I don't think there's any such law, actually. And the lady goes, yeah, there is. You should look it up. You should know that. And the manager said, well, if there is a law, I definitely should know it. And so the lady said, well, you need to go look that up then. And the manager said, okay, well, I'll try to do that. The lady goes, but what am I supposed to do now? You don't have any hamburger for me. Thankfully, they finally just got the lady to pay for what she had and leave, so I was able to get out of there. So there was that experience. Then the other day I'm on Facebook and I look and some guy has a post out there and he posts something and he says, how many people that you know have died of COVID-19? Oop, there we go, fireworks. So, pretty much everyone's saying no one, thankfully. And he said, well, so why did we take all these precautions if no one's going to die from it? I don't understand why we did all this stuff. I don't know. You can't make this stuff up. I think maybe we took the precautions so that people didn't die, but I could be wrong about that. So earlier today I had to run to Menards to get something, and they require masks now. So as I'm walking up to the store, I'm putting my mask on. They're not the most comfortable things when it's 90 and humid, but hey, if you gotta wear them, you gotta wear them, right? So there's this lady standing up by the door, and there's two employees out there, and there's an argument going on clearly as I'm walking up. And they say, you can't come in without a mask. We have a rule. It's posted right here. We can sell you a mask for $1. She said, I'm not buying any masks to come into your store. And they said, well, then you're not going to be able to come in, ma'am. And she said, well, no, I'm coming in. I'm a customer. I have a right to come in your store. And they said, well, actually, you don't. So they argue a little bit more. And she goes, I'm not putting a mask on. I just put on lipstick, and I'm not going to mess up my lipstick unless your store is going to buy me a new tube of lipstick if I buy your mask. So eventually they turned her away. She didn't end up going in, but I guess that's where we're at as a society at this point. Our lipstick's more important than anybody else's health. So we got that going for us. So the other day I get a call from my mom. We're talking, and we're kind of talking about how things are now, everyone's doing, all the differences we're experiencing. And she said to me, have you gotten any good advice from anyone since you've been home? And I said, yeah, I've gotten one good piece of advice that I can think of. She said, what is that? I said, well, someone told me don't Google the highest bridge near me. I said, I thought that was pretty good advice. So there's that. And we've been hearing some interesting songs people have been coming out with during this. There's been a lot of different songs, a lot of things that are COVID related, or, you know. The one song I can't figure out, maybe some of you guys understand this, I don't know. Thomas Rhett came out with a song, and in the song, he's referring to beers, and he goes, "It might take one or it might take six." And the first time I ever heard it, I thought, come on, Thomas, you can't be that big a lightweight. And I thought about it, you know, I've heard the song about 10,000 times now, and so every time I hear it, I think, what the heck does he mean? Finally, after a number of times of hearing it, I came to the conclusion, he either means 6 packs or 40 ounces, so I can live with it now. Now it makes a little bit more sense to me. So, but speaking of alcohol, I don't know if anyone's been to the liquor store lately. I'd imagine quite a few people have been. Seems like every time I walk in the liquor store, people are buying $20 and $30 liters of liquor. I see more people buying like Bombay Sapphire and I'll see like Crown Royal and Grey Goose and Knob Creek, and I just sit there and think, either you people have way too much money or you need to start drinking more. So I'm like, you need to stop buying stuff that's at eye level or higher. You got to look down lower on those shelves. Like you're probably wondering what's in the mason jar. So what this is, it's a wonderful American combination that we call the 7-7. $20 a handle right here. Tastes good. I don't have to pay $30 for a liter for it. So, you know, I think there's a lot more effective ways to drink than buying the expensive stuff, but to each their own. But speaking of that, the other day I came across an interesting product. I thought this was pretty funny. So there's this technology company named SilverCloud, and they decided, since everyone else was in the business, by the way, Chris Farley, one of the funniest human beings to ever walk the earth. So I'm in the liquor store, and I noticed the stuff our company actually uses SilverCloud when we're working from home, so I'm familiar with them. And I find this bottle, and it says SilverCloud Vodkatizer, right? So SilverCloud tried to get into the hand sanitizer business along with everybody else when you couldn't find any. Evidently, when they did their packaging, they just slapped vodka over the beginning of sanitizer, so it now says Vodkatizer. But anyway, I thought it was pretty good. It's 151 proof, as you see there, and all for the low price of $9.99 a handle. So, of course, I bought 2 because why wouldn't you? I said, so, oh yeah, and you've probably been thinking this is water I'm drinking. This is actually the SilverCloud Vodkatizer. The reason there's so much ice in the glass is, you know, my motto in life is, keep your dead bodies cold, keep your vodka colder. And shit, now thinking of it, the $9.99 SilverCloud Vodkatizer, I had to get the hell out of here and go tell that homeless guy that just got $200 about that. He's probably going to want to head down to the store. Everyone take care. Bye.